What's going on, everybody? It's the Kitty G, and I'm back again with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about a load of stuff, a load of things to talk about, a load of stuff to get through in today's topics. So we're going to be talking about Odsonne Edouard. We're going to be talking about a certain striker in Lisbon that we're after. We're going to be talking about what's going on with the band currently under investigation. If you guys haven't already heard, there's two players that could possibly be back for the Europa League tie. We'll find out more about that and what's going on and what the health status is with Thomas Partey. In addition to Odegaard, could he possibly stay at Arsenal or could he go back to Real Madrid? We don't know. We'll find out. A possible conversation around his contract and this possibility of being a player coach. We need to find out more about that also. In addition to the main topic for today, what we're going to be talking about is the possibility of selling two of our strikers, the academy striker and the 47 million pound man himself. So let's get into it and let's get that started, ladies and gentlemen. Bang. Yes, people. So today I got Gunnar Express with me and I got Harry with me. Big up to you guys. What's going on, guys? How's everything going? You guys good?
It's going good.
Yeah, good, buddy. Thank you. Good.
Chilling. And yeah, so if you guys don't already know, Harry's been on here before, and Gunnar Express, you've been on here plenty of times, but big up to you for coming on. And you want to tell people about your channel?
Yeah, started a new channel, the Gunnar Express. Do a lot of like previews, reactions, that kind of thing. So go check that out, subscribe, and make sure to subscribe to a gal as well. Don't forget to do that. Thank
you. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for that. Now, first things first, we got to talk about the main. Are we gonna start with the main story, or we just we're not gonna do that. We're gonna start with Odsonne Edouard. We're gonna talk about Odsonne Edouard, possible 15 million pounds. To get Odsonne Edouard, they're talking about, guys. So I don't know about you guys, but how much do you know about Odsonne Edouard? What do you know about the striker? What do you think about his profile? They're saying he could be the perfect profile of player to come in and fill Lacazette's spot in the team. And they're feeling like, hey, if they're going to get him for 15 million, it's a steal. So I don't know. What do you guys think about Odsonne Edouard, 15 million, the Celtic man? Can he fill Lacazette's boots? You guys tell me what you guys think in the comment section, and I'll start with you, Harry. What do you think, Harry?
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because we always talk about going to the next level, right? And who's going to take us to the next level? And then you have to ask yourself, is this striker going to take us to that level? He's got a good goal record. He's probably more of an all-rounder than Lacazette. He's got quite a good hold-up play from what I've seen, and he's pretty pacey. I think it could be a good signing, but that we just have to reserve a bit of judgment. And if we do sign players like that, then we have to adjust our expectations a little bit, because you have to realise that if you sign a 23-year-old from the Scottish League, there's going to be a period where he needs to adjust, where he needs to get used to the league, and you have to probably be patient with him. Don't get me wrong, he could hit the ground running if that's someone that we do sign, but we just have to be aware that it's not the elite level striker that we want. And when you buy these players in, you've got to give them time to get used to the league and find their form. But Lacazette's 29, pushing on 30. He's not getting any quicker, so we need to look for a younger replacement. And in this market, 15 million pounds, if that's the price, that's a pretty decent deal, right? You're not going to find that much quality, I think, for any cheaper. So yeah, let's go for it, I suppose, and see what he's got.
Yeah, and just before I go to you, Gunnar Express. So they're also saying 15 million pounds is what what Celtics want for him. His contract is running down, and Express also are the original source, and they're reporting that Arsenal have been monitoring the situation, and Arteta and Edu seem like he would be the perfect fit to replace Lacazette. So what do you think, Gunnar Express?
Yeah, I think, let's be honest, 15 million pound for him. Lacazette basically pays for that. I think even Nketiah, if we're going to sell him, I think that pays for it. He is young, and we need somebody, young in that striking position, because Nketiah is not going to cut it, and we don't know what's going to happen with Balogun. But for £15 million, his scoring record's pretty good. And yes, it is the Scottish League, but I've seen a lot of people say that we shouldn't even be bothering. Like, oh, it's Scottish League, he's rubbish. We signed Kieran Tierney from the Scottish League. I'm not saying Edouard's gonna, be the same level of player, but some Scottish League players can do a good job in the Premier League. They are they're too big for the Scottish League, and I think Edouard is. I think he's a bit like Morelos from Rangers. He's too good for that league, and he's never really going to unlock his potential until he plays in a better league. But for £15 million, I'm taking him any day. Still play Aubameyang up front, but why not? Europa League stuff like that. Get him in and give him a go.
Yeah. So long-term replacement. Do you guys feel like he is a long-term replacement for Lacazette, or do you feel like he's a different mold? Because from what I've seen, he's slightly different. He has better link-up play. He's more. He can score from many different angles, and he's more. And he's also more of a like. I don't want to discredit Lacazette because he's done it before in the Europa League. He hasn't really done it in the league often, but he can get a goal from nothing. I don't really see Lacazette doing that much.
Yeah, I think it's hard with Lacazette because you do feel like he's slowly deteriorating. I know he's had an okay season, but he doesn't have that nimbleness that he once had. He's had a little bit of pace and nice footwork in and around the box, and now he just seems to have developed like this hold-up play game where he's almost like being asked, don't worry about being clinical, just make sure you back into defenders and hold up the play. So long term, I think Edouard is the profile of striker that we need to be looking at. Getting back to our roots of having a fast striker up front who wants to get in behind, who wants to score worldies. Whereas with Lacazette, Arteta is so fixated on him playing a certain role. So I think he can be a long-term replacement to Lacazette. And no disrespect to Lacazette, but he's not exactly leaving behind, an amazing legacy. So he can come in and hopefully score some goals.
There you go. Yeah, so there's not much left to be said about Odsonne Edouard. The situation with his contract is the main reason why he's so cheap. So if his contract wasn't running down, of course, it would be criminal to let him go for nothing. So of course they're going to try to get something out of it. And if you can get him for that cheap, why not? I don't see why there's a problem around that. Now, going from one striker to another, there is a striker in Sporting that we've been linked to. If you guys haven't already heard, his name is Tiago Tomas. He's 18-year-old Sporting Lisbon player. Basically, according to the situation, they're in financial troubles, extreme financial troubles, which is causing them to possibly sell the player. They recently got him on a new deal and gave him a release, which gives him a release clause of around 60+ million. But due to the fact that they're in financial difficulties, they're willing to sell the player for around 20 million. And it's reported that Arteta, Edu, and everyone else at Arsenal are ready to take this player on for 20 million, and they feel like it's an absolute bargain. Now, it looks like this is the profile of players we're going for: unproven, cheap options that could turn into big values in the long run. How do you guys see this deal? Do you see it as a smart deal, or do you see it as just something else?
I'll take this one. A lot of the links from the Sun, and first off, I don't trust the Sun in anything. It's all usually it's bullshit usually. But the main thing for me is we were linked last summer to Yolson Fernandez from Sporting, £40 million. They were saying we were literally ready to sign him. We were never even linked with him. Like, there was no link to him. It was this massive fixated thing by the agent to try and boost his value. Yolson Fernandez, I don't think anybody knows who he is anymore. And I think Thomas is the exact same. Like, he's 18. He barely plays for Sporting as it is. £20 million. You can get Edouard for 5 million less. He's proven at a decent level. He's scoring goals for Celtic like it's nothing. It's an obvious option for me who I'm taking out the two. But again, how it just shows our recruitment system, doesn't it? Like, we're getting gassed over this 18-year-old striker who's barely done anything. Like, I don't know why Edu and Arteta are so excited, but again, I don't even think it's true. I think it's just false rumors, really. But
let's look at his stats. He hasn't done much for there to be even the hype around him as a player.
Yeah. I've never heard of him. I've literally never heard of him.
Barely played over 25 games in the league. He's gotten 2 goal contributions this year and an assist. Like, I don't think he's done anything in Europa League that fits amazingness either. So it's like, where's all this hype coming from? You're right.
It feels like a Football Manager rumor, you start a Football Manager game and there's all these wonder kids. I can't see it happening, to be honest. And if it does, it won't be at that fee. It will be maybe similar to what we did with Martinelli. Yeah. But in terms of the profile of player, that's where we're at as a club. We need to find gems. We need to look in other leagues, whether that's the Championship, the SPL, and essentially not the elite European leagues, i.e. Portugal. That's where we need to find these players, unearth them, and hopefully stumble across a good one, because the market's going to be really tough in the summer. So you've got to try and find those bargains, albeit 20 million isn't a bargain for someone who scored 2 goals in 19 games. But if it's cheap, you never know, it could happen. But like you said, with the Sun and those football rumours, it doesn't seem likely.
Hey, the next story comes from Ghanaian Sports Net. so I don't know if you trust anything. I don't know who to trust anymore. But you know what? These Arsenal stories, they write themselves, guys. They write themselves. So if you guys know the what do you call it? Sky said something about this being pretty much done. So do you believe that it's even close to being done?
No. Look,
Sky came out and said it was close to being done.
I've never even heard of the kid. Like, I've never heard of him. I think if Sky say it's almost done, I think, like Harry said, it'll be a small deal. It'll be like Omar Rekik, maybe a bit more money than Rekik, but it'll be a youth signing. So maybe they're expecting Balogun to leave. You never know. Like, maybe they're bringing in a new under-23 striker, but he can't be the backup to Aubameyang. He's 18. He's played 1 season and barely done anything at Sporting. If he is our backup to Aubameyang, our club is a genuine joke, because I don't care how good this kid might be.
No, he's Eddie and Katie. I feel like he's Eddie.
Striker, that's good, but in that case, I want Edouard as well. But if we are going to spend 20 million on Thomas and 15 on Edouard, that's 40 million on 2 strikers. We need to be spending that money, on Basuma, on these kind of players that we need. So I just don't see both of them coming in really. But again, I think it's going to be a chop price, maybe like 5-7 million, but not 20.
Yeah, we've seen it a lot when we sign these quotation wonder kids, who are like 16, 17 from abroad, and they come over and nothing happens. We saw it with Wellington, Rio Miyachi, like all these players, who you think are going to have great careers, and it doesn't really materialize. Not to say this young chap won't have a good career, but it's certainly nothing that we should be banking on or relying on him to take us to the next level.
This guy says a player called Messi free to negotiate with other clubs. He could. I hope Edu's convince him. Europa League and top. Oh man, come on! I don't think Messi will ever come to us on a free.
I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't want him. He costs too much money to keep at the club. No, look, as playing ability, absolutely, but the way that he, for me, ruins certain clubs like Barcelona, the amount of money he gets paid, it's bankrupting them. Like, it's putting them in debt. Yeah, like you see, we
can get rid of Willian on who's.
You see what the Bayern Munich owner said this morning. He said he'd never even think of paying Messi's wages because it's stupidly high. Like, Bayern Munich have a lot of money, and if he's saying that, then there's obviously, it's a bit of a joke how much he's getting paid, really.
Edouard as an Eddie Nketiah replacement, and you keep do you guys see Edouard coming in if we keep Lacazette?
No, he wouldn't want to. I don't think he'd take that, because he could go to Palace and get like game time all the time, or like a team like that. So I just don't see him being third choice.
I could, if his price is actually that low, I could definitely see him going to a Brighton or somebody else like that if they stay up, like someone at the bottom of the league table, and he would do really good.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah, I think it depends where we are financially. If we have to get rid of Lacazette to get Edouard, then obviously it wouldn't happen. If Lacazette doesn't want to leave, just so we can't sell Lacazette, which is going to be likely if no one's got any spending money in the summer, and Lacazette is happy just to sit there on his contract, but he's not going to help us develop the team, then you could see Edouard coming in and perhaps Arteta doing what he did with Mustafi and Kolasinac and Ozil, and just say to Lacazette, look, you're not in my plans, so you're not going to be in the squad, and we get Edouard. I mean, that could also happen as well. Arteta's got no time now to play nice. Like, he's had a year and a half to clear out his squad, so he needs to get the players in that he thinks are going to take us to the next level.
Someone said Messi's worth every penny. Else said Messi, what he brings basically as a global brand to your club. I know we're not talking about Messi, guys. We're talking about what's his name?
With Lacazette as well. Quickly, I think a lot of people, they don't want him to go, not because he's a playing ability, it's sentiment behind him. Like the amount of clips you see of him and Aubameyang, and him celebrating wins and stuff like that. I said it in my preview that I'll be uploading later tonight. I love him. He's a footballer. He's a great guy. His friendship with certain players is great, but the sentimental value at Arsenal needs to stop. The amount of players that we keep due to sentiment, and then they just ruin the club, like Ozil and You know, you could even say like Mustafi. Some people said, "Oh, we should keep him because he had a half decent season." Like, no, he's crap. Like Lacazette, love him as a person, love him as a footballer. He ain't good enough. It's time to go. Like, that's just the bottom line.
It is, unfortunately, yeah.
That's fair. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to. We're gonna come back to the striker situation in a second, but first, just go to Odegaard. This might keep us we might be stuck on this for a little bit longer than we expect. Now, the stuff with Odegaard is open the door to a permanent deal from his transfer. Requesting for a transfer from Real Madrid earlier in the window in January, right? And in that talks, it could now be that Arsenal could come back for talks for a permanent deal. I know it's only been one game. I know it's kind of premature to get into all those details after one game, but this report comes from. Let me show you guys. And if you guys thought you didn't trust the Sun, you're definitely not going to trust other reports from numerous other countries. But this report here, let me just show you guys. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. So this comes from Ghana Sportsnet. It says Martin Odegaard opens the door to a permanent transfer from Arsenal. That's what the rumor says. So you guys tell me. Do you guys trust it? Do you guys believe it? Do you believe anything behind this? Because I've read it, and this is what it says. It says Odegaard has opened the door to stay at Arsenal permanently. The loanee wanted to leave in January due to the fact he wasn't getting much game time, right? And after one game where we beat Leeds 4-2, Arteta has already been very impressed by the guy and is looking to sign him permanently.
Yeah, man. I mean, I would do all we can to sign him permanently. I know it's really early, but I think they're probably pushing for a deal sooner because the longer they leave it, if Odegaard plays really, really well, then his value will keep going up. But in the same respect, if Real Madrid are asking for a high transfer fee, I don't know if we're going to be in a position to spend money. It might be agreeing another loan deal. It seems from what you read that Odegaard is keen to get his future, sorted out because he doesn't want to go back to Real Madrid next year and just sit on the bench. I think he played 7 times before we got him on loan at Real Madrid. And previously at Sociedad, he played like 30 plus games. So whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I would be really, really keen on getting that one wrapped up as a signing because I think he's got a lot of ability. I think he's far less of a luxury player like a Mesut Ozil was. He can play a bit deeper. He's a bit more robust. He's quite similar to David Silva, the way he picks up the ball and the positions he takes up on the pitch. So for me, I would try to get him, but I've got a feeling Real Madrid are going to want big money.
Okay. Gunner Express?
Yeah, I think he's definitely up for it. I think a lot of the links are saying that if Zidane is still at Madrid next season, then he'll definitely be asking for a move away. I don't think him and Zidane have the best relationship. But the bad thing for Arsenal with that is there's links again saying that if Zidane doesn't win the Champions League, he's getting sacked. Like that's a genuine thing that they've tried to say. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. But, I don't think they're going to win the Champions League, which means if that is true, he's going to get sacked. So it depends who then comes in. Yeah. Obviously, if it's Allegri or whoever else, if they want to play Odegaard, he'll stay there. Because let's be honest, he'd rather play at Madrid than Arsenal. Like, it's Madrid.
It's a bit like that Coutinho situation last year, isn't it? We were quite close to getting him, or it felt that we were, and then Koeman came in and said, look, you're part of my plans, and then it changes everything, which is why I think they might push early for a deal if they can secure, a moderate transfer fee, whatever that might be, 35, 40 million, then I think they should go for it.
There's no option to buy in his loan contract, unfortunately.
But there's not. But they consider agree something. They can still say, look, they can secure a deal now if they wanted to.
The one thing that Odegaard has to do is demand a move away. Like we rely on him going to Madrid, going to Perez or whoever else and saying, I don't want to play here anymore. If I stay at the club, I'm not. I'm just going to basically kick up a fuss. Sometimes you have to do that. And obviously, I think it was Perez who let Odegaard go on loan. I think he said to Zidane, "I'm going to let him go on loan if you aren't going to play him." So maybe he will listen to him. Like if Odegaard wants to leave, they'll figure something out. But yeah, I want him. I think again, he played all right against Leeds, but I think a lot of people are saying it's too early for Arteta to judge it, since he has only started once. It's not just that though. Arteta's around him all the time. He's around him with training. He's probably watched a lot of Odegaard before coming to Arsenal, so he'll have a bit of knowledge of Odegaard as a person and as a footballer. So if we sign him, we sign him. But we just got to let that happen and hope for the best. That if we do sign him.
On Norwegian TV, he was asked, "Do you see yourself going back to Real Madrid?" He basically said, "You never know what's going to happen." So, in my opinion, that means you never know. Means like he's open to the opportunity of staying at Arsenal, or he's open to the opportunity of going back. You never know.
I mean, when did Madrid sign him? When he was like 16, is that right?
16, yeah, about 8
7 years ago.
Yeah, 7 years ago. He's hardly played, so I don't think he's got any particular love for the club. I don't think he's loved his time there. He's hardly played, so I think he'd be keen to find a new home, as it were. And I think he's exactly the type of player we should be getting in how he plays. He's essentially an attacking midfielder, but he's not a number 10. He's more of a number 8 or a right-sided midfielder. So it's perfect.
What do you think about this tactical setup? The way we set up with Odegaard, you can see he's circled there in the 10 role. Smith Rowe on the left, Saka on the right, Aubameyang up top. It offered us a lot more creativity, interchanging. There were so many times where I was actually pissed off because how many times did you guys mix up Odegaard and Smith Rowe?
Yeah, a few times,
because they would pick up the ball in similar areas. It was really frustrating to watch at times, but it was beautiful at the same time. And Aubameyang really picked up a lot of space on the left-hand side, or giving Odegaard and Smith Rowe more space to run inside. So is this the way we're going to play in the long run, or do you guys see even him playing deeper? You mentioned David Silva. He can play a lot deeper with that penalty that was overcalled. He was in a real deep position to pass that ball to Saka. So can you see Odegaard playing in those roles, and do you see him staying long term?
I think it's funny that you mentioned David Silva, actually. If you look at Real Sociedad right now, he was their attacking midfielder, David Silva. They replaced Odegaard with Silva in the summer. So obviously, and they've done quite well, Sociedad. So obviously they must have their manager must think that they're quite common, because if he's replaced one of them with David, it's that kind of like, seeing what Sociedad have done, it kind of gives me hope that he is similar to Silva. But I don't see Smith Rowe being a left winger. We've still got Pepe. He still deserves to play. But Odegaard,
I think it's more. Sorry, I think it's more about shape, isn't it? I think Emil Smith Rowe, like when he plays left wing, he's not a left winger really, is he? He's almost like a left-sided number 10, and then Odegaard could go into that hole, or he can drop a bit deeper. I think long term, Arteta probably wants 3 central midfielders, and Odegaard is an in-between of a central midfielder and attacking midfielder, so he's still got a bit more balance and a bit more work rate than, say, an Ozil. And I also think when you play Aubameyang up front, maybe you don't want 2 wingers in Pepe and Saka who constantly want to go down the line and maybe put crosses in. Maybe you want more of a possession player like Emil Smith Rowe, who's going to come inside and look for little through balls. Whereas with Pepe, when he's on the left wing, it's very reminiscent of a Sane. It's get the ball at his feet and try and work a shot. So I think it comes with different systems. But I really like Emil Smith Rowe and Odegaard in the same team. I know it's only one game, but I think it just gives us a lot more fluidity on the ball, a lot more possession play, less predictable. Whereas when you look for Pepe, you almost know he's going to take on the fullback and try and get a crossing or shoot. With Emil Smith Rowe, it's come inside, look for a through ball, play it to Saka, start a next phase of play. So I really like that profile. And if you think about some of our most successful teams, it's always been like that. You had a Walcott on one side, then you had a Nasri, Rosicky, Cesc, all these technical ball-playing players who can essentially play anywhere in midfield. So I reckon we might see more of that.
Okay, and just talking about that, today's Champions League, 10 years ago today, you guys know what happened, right? A certain Jack Wilshere came onto the scene. And I just wanted to get this in this video at some point. Jack Wilshere, when he came onto the scene, that game versus Barcelona, I don't know how young you guys were at that time, but I remember watching that game and I was like, this guy was mesmerizing. He was going up against Xavi, Iniesta, Messi, all these guys, and it was just like, if am I mistaken, he showed up big time. I think we ended up doing well. In the long run, we did not go far in that Champions League, obviously, but it was good to see the young man. And I thought at that point he had the whole world ahead of him. He could have done. You also had the rest of the guys who showed up. I forget who played exactly specifically next to him.
I think Arshavin was quite good that day.
Arshavin was good that game. We had. Am I wrong that Van Persie played that game?
Yeah, we had Song and Jack in the middle, then Nasri, Walcott, and Cesc.
Arshavin, yeah.
Yeah, and then Arshavin came on, didn't he, and scored the goal. But yeah, man, I mean, what a player he was. So sad what's happened to Jack Wilshere. So sad. Had the world at his feet, and injuries have killed him. That's it.
I saw a tweet from Troops the other day, and someone asked him a question. It was, if any player in world football could go injury free, who would it be? And he went Jack Wilshere. I'd have loved to have seen his career without injuries. But I mean, yeah, like you said, it happens. You know, Ronaldo, the old Ronaldo, R9, he was hit with injuries. So
yeah,
it just happens to certain players.
Yeah, so let me read this, what I tweeted out earlier. 10 years ago today, world football stood still in astonishment from the magnificent side, and when they saw Jack Grealish steamroll Barcelona, pivot of Xavi and Iniesta. Nasri, Fabregas, Arshavin also played their part as well. So let's not forget. Let's not forget how good this guy was. And now we're gonna move on. Moving on from that, where do we go? Let's get some updates before we go any further, right? So there's an update on Thomas Partey and Kieran Tierney's situation. Have you guys heard anything? Because I heard some stuff.
They're not playing, apparently, is what they're saying.
Yeah, maybe Tierney's the most likely. Is that right? Kieran Tierney could come back if anyone comes back, but yeah, they're both out for a while.
Yeah, so they said that Thomas Partey missed the Leeds game and is likely to be out for another 2 weeks. Says football.london, and as understood, and they said Arsenal's more hopeful of the Scottish international making an appearance, but after missing 5 games in all competitions, they're not 100%. It's not 100% sure if he'll be fit and ready in time for the Europa League game. In addition to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang being back ready to go, there has been an incident where he's now currently under investigation. Have you guys heard about that?
Yeah, the title.
Yeah, I have. Yeah. But that's all BS, right? Because that video looks like it's 2 years old.
So the incident that happened with him with the tattoo. Let's get into it. So Arsenal spoke to the striker apparently after an Instagram post showing that he was getting a tattoo, and this was a tattoo guy based in Barcelona who came and met him. He was not wearing a mask, and he could have risked him with COVID. And this incident took place back in February 10th. And was recorded then. So 6 days ago, this incident took place. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think this is just media once again creating something out of nothing, or do you guys care?
I think it's classic media. It's classic English media. A foreign player, he scored a hat trick. Let's just instantly put him in the dirt again. They do it with Sterling all the time. He does something really good, but let's just bring something bad about him up. It's just what they do. And I mean, look, these tattoo artists and hairdressers, they're going all around the world. Like there's a few hairdressers that do football haircuts. They're still doing their job, but they can do, they're allowed to they do bubbles, so they can do it without, the risk of COVID spreading. And Aubameyang will have done that. He's not stupid enough to first off, risk him getting COVID and then also putting it on Instagram. I don't think he's that stupid. So there's surely like restrictions in place for where they were safe from COVID, and as I said, it's just what UK media do. It's just classic sport media. It's just a player does well, let's just instantly bring up something negative about him. Like they're doing it with Saliba. They're still bringing up this thing with Saliba. It's like it happened a few weeks ago. Just ignore it now, and no one's bothered anymore. But
yeah. No, they're making it into a joke. I'm surprised they didn't get Roy Keane to chime in. They love getting him to talk about everything. Now moving on to the next thing. This part here was very surprising. I don't know if you guys were surprised by it, but apparently David Luiz, possible player-coach contract on the tables with Mikel Arteta. They've been speaking about David Luiz's ability to be a leader, a captain, and an influencer in the dressing room. That they are now actually are tempted to speak to him about a part-time player-coach role, and he has spoken about possibly getting into coaching himself. So this could be a situation where the Brazilian could be a player/coach in his next chapter of his career. And according to football.london, he is more likely to accept the role than he is to decline it. What do you guys think?
I'd be surprised if it's a player coach role in the same season. I think it makes sense for him to perhaps have a contract extension as a player next season, and then the season after that become a coach. But I don't know how the dynamic works with having a player that is a coach in the squad, and if so, I can't imagine that he would play that much. And then when he does play, it would just feel a little bit strange. I feel like that's sort of something that happens in the lower leagues. It doesn't really happen at an elite club. I'm all for a contract extension. I think it makes sense just from a squad perspective. But as a player coach, I don't know, that feels a little bit confusing. If you think about a lot of the players that have tried to do that, Vincent Kompany tried to do it when he went to Belgium. I know he was a manager, but there's a lot of people that try to do it, and Rooney, and they soon realise that you can't necessarily mix the both. So I'm not sure about that, to be honest. But
wasn't there some big high-profile player coaches back in the day at Barcelona?
I think Glenn Hoddle did it, right? Or did Ruud Gullit do it at Chelsea back in the day? I'm sure they did.
Ruud Gullit did
it. It's just a bit weird, isn't it? I mean, like I say, it's usually something.
But he was the player manager.
They were saying apparently Carlos Puyol did it for a year or two, but even then he barely played anyway, so it didn't really make a difference. But I think he was a player coach for a while. But I mean, I've already said it. I want him to have a year extension. You know, I think a lot of it is down to the fact that he's ex-Chelsea, where all the hate comes from. If we bought him from like Benfica or something, he wouldn't get as much hate as he does. Like, let's just be honest. It is because he's ex-Chelsea. It's the same with Willian. Don't get me wrong. He's awful, but he wouldn't get as much hate if he wasn't ex-Chelsea. But I want him on a 1 year. And I do see him as a coach. Oddly, I see him as the Brazil manager one day. Like, not saying he'll do well or anything, but it's his kind of thing, you know. He obviously loves football.
Was Giggs player coach at Manchester United?
Oh, I might have been.
Because I know Michael Carrick is now they're one of their coaches.
Yeah, Giggs is he still the Welsh manager, or did he quit? I think he quit, didn't he?
Yeah.
To be honest, in the last season of most of their careers, I'm sure they do take up more of a coaching role. But it probably doesn't get officially announced until they've actually retired. But with Luiz, my only hesitant would be is the red card situation. Not because I feel like that's fair to analyse him on that, because this season shouldn't have even been a red card, and even the ones previously last season. The Mahrez one was so harsh. I mean, we saw a worse foul yesterday in the West Ham game, and it's a yellow card. So I'm not going to tarnish him with him being a reckless defender. But the truth is, the referees aren't able to judge him fairly. So that's the only hindrance. That even if he does a challenge next year that isn't a red card, he'll probably get sent off for it, and then everything starts again. So that would be my only like reservation about it. Like, are we going to go down the same route? But I don't think he'll play that much next year. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't think he'll play that much next year. Maybe Europa League games, maybe easier Premier League home games.
I think this year, due to some strange incidences, he's been asked to play as a second choice. But maybe next year, if he's fourth choice, think about it this way: he'll play as much as Pablo Mari probably.
I think a lot of people as well. One quickly thing with it, the coaching thing. I see a lot of people on Twitter and stuff saying, "Oh, why would we make him a coach? He's this and that." He's not going to be like the assistant coach or anything like that. It'll be a simple defensive coach or the under-23s or something. So it's not going to he's not going to greatly impact the team, which is what some people are thinking. But
also, quickly, forget your personal, not you guys, but people need to forget their personal opinion on David Luiz. Regardless of what you think of him, every club has taken a gamble on him in his career. Chelsea, PSG, Chelsea, us, for many reasons. Because he's a good defender. He's great on the ball. He's a great motivator. He speaks many languages. So these are all things you need to consider. And of course, fans can say, "Oh, well, you know, we're not here to use translators, or we're not here to be a retirement home." It's not about that. Is he a detriment to the team? Most of the time he's not. Is he solid? Yeah, he has. Is he one of the reasons why we've been pretty good defensively this year? Yeah, he is. So you keep players like around the dressing room. They're worth their weight in gold to coaches, worth their weight in gold. That's why players play at elite clubs in elite leagues into their mid-30s. Good ones always do. Thiago Silva at Chelsea, Pepe at Madrid. There's loads of examples of it. So that's why
it's like Jordan Henderson, isn't it? Like, he's not. I know I'm going to get a lot of Liverpool fans hating me for this, but he's not a world-class midfielder. He's a world-class leader. Because of how good he is as a leader, he gets in that Liverpool squad.
Same as James Milner, right?
GK says, great defender, question mark. I can't accept that. Great technically and on the ball, but not a defender.
I mean, he's better than Rob Holding. I'm sorry, David Luiz has been one of our better defenders this season. Like, Rob Holding, he's had a great season. But what's David Luiz won in his career? What has he won as a defender? Like, he is a good defender. He was in the team of the year well at PSG. Yes, he was in the team when they got battered 7-1, but he's a good defender. Like, again, I think it's just a lot of like people bias. It's like, oh, I don't want to say he's good because he's ex-Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly.
But he is.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
He is.
Now, finally, guys, we've reached the final topic. Arsenal are open to letting Lacazette and Eddie Nketiah leave at the end of the season, knowing that both of their contracts are running down, knowing that Eddie Nketiah probably wants a bumper new deal, knowing that Lacazette probably wants a bumper new deal, knowing that both of them would want the game time and the assurances to be playing as the number one eventually, the number 9 eventually, and just a couple more details that they say. They say that BBC, Football London, and Express have all reported that Lacazette has shown with his relationship with BBC says that his relationship with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has actually backfired in their potential as a partnership working forward. Eddie Nketiah from the Express says that he's looking for a bumper new deal, and that Arteta does not necessarily see him as the number one option going forward in the striker role and would want to improve on that player. And that both of them are expiring contracts in 2022. And it's clear that Arsenal are willing to let them both go because they would not want to lose either of them on a free. So where do we begin? Eddie Nketiah.
I mean, this sounds really weird, but I don't care because he doesn't play. So, it's irrelevant. If we were to give him a contract extension, as long as the wage isn't ridiculous, then, I mean, keep him. He doesn't play. If he's going to take up wage and spend on another player, then of course try to sell him. Unfortunately, in the market, you're not going to get what you could get. Furthermore, his value's probably gone down because he's not playing. So if you say to yourself, right, we're going to get 10 million for him, is it worth selling him for 10 million? Maybe it's better just to extend his contract and play him in random games in the Europa League. I know that might affect the Balogun situation, so then that's another factor. But yeah, I mean, I don't care. I think he scored when did he score those goals against Norwich? Was it 2018 or 2017 when he come off the bench?
So you guys are hilarious.
He's been floating around the squad for like 3-4 years. Nothing's really happened.
People in the comments, give us your thoughts on Eddie Nketiah and Lacazette. Right now, I'm gonna go full screen for this one. I personally think differently from a lot of people. I think Eddie Nketiah is a player who's a late bloomer, and he's going to develop into somebody who we're going to look back and we're going to be like, you know what, we could have utilized that kind of player in our team. But the thing is Arsenal willing to spend 60 to 70 million to keep him 60 to 70K a week to keep him here, to see him further develop into his career? Or are we willing to give him the time, or do we need somebody who can hit the ground running right now? Eddie Nketiah has surplus his requirements, and I think we need to go further and find a replacement for Eddie Nketiah. Now, Lacazette, on the other hand, I feel like Lacazette has never actually done well at Arsenal, and in his time here, he's been quite poor. When you look at his goals, he's not somebody who's scored a lot of goals. He's gotten a lot more assists than the average striker, but he's not gotten nowhere near the same amount of goals as we require from an Arsenal striker. So I'm now going to go to you guys. Lacazette, Eddie Nketiah. What do you guys feel like in the comment section? Where do you guys want him? Do you guys want him? Do you want to sell him? What do you guys think? Let me know. I'll start with you, Gunner Express.
With Nketiah, nah, get rid of him. Seriously, he's not good enough. Like, yeah, he might bloom a bit later on, but let him do it somewhere else. He's not going to get the game time he needs here. There's no point of spending stupid money on him. But what annoys me more is I put a tweet out about it. We could have got £23 million from West Ham in the summer for Eddie Nketiah. We declined that, saying we want to keep him. Less than a year later, we want to sell him again, and we're going to get less money. Why didn't we sell him in the first place? Is my question. I think if we're going to sell Nketiah, we're either really confident that Balogun's going to stay, or we're really confident we're going to get Edouard or a new striker, which is slightly promising. We need somebody else. Yeah, I'm not keeping him. And then with Lacazette, he's not been a bad player for Arsenal. Let's get that clear. He won Player of the Year about 2 years ago, and as a footballer, he's been decent. But as a striker, nah, he's not good enough. For me, Lacazette's more of a centre attacking midfielder. He creates the play and then can score every now and then. But he's too late in his career to switch position, at least at Arsenal, if that is what's best for him. So I'm moving him on, getting 20, 30 million. You know, Roma were interested in him. Juventus apparently are interested in him. Madrid are interested in him. You know, get rid of him, get some money for him, and invest it in other areas.
Okay. What about yourself, Harry?
Yeah, I don't want to be too harsh on him. I think in that season when Emery took over, him and Aubameyang were performing really well together, and their numbers were pretty impressive. But after that, it's kind of I haven't been able to rely on him. Sorry, I think that's one of my biggest frustrations is that we never really got those guys playing together as much as we should have. We never really adjusted the formation to support both of their player profiles. You know, playing Aubameyang left wing and playing Lacazette.
Tell them both. That's what I said.
Yeah. But that's the only thing I just feel like we didn't see the best of them together when we could have had a really good front two in a 4-4-2, but we don't play that way. So yeah, like you guys say, I think just cash in. You know, there's no point spending a lot of money on him, is there? There's no point.
Oh man, you gotta love the comments. Okay, so let me just go through some of these comments. People are saying, people are agreeing with you, Gunnar Express. They said you're spitting facts when you're talking about selling Eddie Nketiah. Why didn't we just sell him when we had the offer from Wolves? Wolves were kind of desperate, right?
Yeah. It's hard on those ones, isn't it? Because the same was with AZ Maitland-Niles, right? We don't know if those offers were firm. Like with the AZ Maitland-Niles one, sorry to digress, but there was rumours of Bellerin perhaps leaving. Cedric was finding his fitness, and then an offer comes in for AZ Maitland-Niles, and Arteta's thinking, is Bellerin going to go or not? I don't know. If I sell AZ Maitland-Niles and then Bellerin wants to go, I'm screwed. So I think it was a timing thing. And AZ Maitland-Niles played left wing back for the first 3 or 4 games or whatever and did okay, and then we phased him out. And the same for Nketiah. Nketiah has featured this season, which is probably why we kept him, but he was being shit. Like he did have a run of games in that horrible run of form that we had, but he never stepped up. So, and now he's not playing at all. So now we definitely don't need him. It's clear that we don't need him.
Okay, so Cam said, Eddie Nketiah, why do you guys want to loan out Eddie Nketiah? He's average.
No, I don't. No, you get rid of him. Just sell him
off. We all here are saying get rid of him, right?
Yeah. The only thing it would back up is perhaps your theory about keeping him around on loan, let him blossom somewhere else. But I totally agree with what you're saying, Igal, about that. Some players are late bloomers, but a lot of that depends on the environment, the team they're playing in. Eddie Nketiah isn't a lone striker for me. He definitely needs to be playing in a 4-4-2, or he needs to be playing close to someone. Look at Harry Kane as an example to back up your point. He was certainly a late bloomer. They tried to get rid of him. They loaned him out to Norwich, Millwall, Leyton Orient, and it never happened for him. And then at Spurs, suddenly it clicked, and then it went on from there. So it can happen, but playing at Spurs is a total different pressure to playing at Arsenal at the time Harry Kane came through. So you might be wrong. You might be right about Nketiah. He could really, really blossom. But in the same respect, I've seen it with Pierre-Emerick Thomas, Afobe, Chuba Akpom. Go back further to someone like Lupoli. It's really hard for players to make that position their own.
You know what?
Let them do it somewhere else.
I'm going to say something to you guys that's harsh. Chuba Akpom, when he was coming through, Eddie Nketiah was better than him. Yeah. Eddie Nketiah at this point, Balogun is better than him. If Balogun leaves and Muller is better than him, guess what? There's going to be another guy behind him who's going to be better than him. So no matter whatever you have in your team, there's always something coming through that's better. If you want to ruin those guys' chances, you might as well get rid of them. And also, don't forget the agent who has Eddie Nketiah's agent, Reece Nelson's agent, Saka's agent, Jadon Sancho's agent, Balogun's agent is all the same person. He wants what's best for his player.
Yeah,
he doesn't care about his
bank account.
Yeah, he doesn't care about what's going on at Arsenal. So at the end of the day, if Eddie Nketiah staying at Arsenal does not benefit the player, the agent, and the club, all parties need to get rid of each other and just let it go.
As well, quickly, with Nketiah, the reason why I wanted to sell him when we got the offer in isn't because we were worrying about Balogun or anything like that. It's like you said, we have strikers.
It's a hypothetical. If Balogun plays, Balogun plays 7 games in a row and Muller's not given a chances, we'll hear the same things about it again. Well, it's the next man up approach. It's a hypothetical. It's not actually saying he's better than him, but that's what I mean. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah. There are those strikers in the youth team, the likes of Muller, Balogun, but even not Balogun, you know, there's other strikers there, and I think with Nketiah we've given him too much time. Everybody likes to say, but he's the top scorer in England under 21 history. Listen to what you're saying,
mate. That means
England
that is literally
under 21.
means nothing.
It means, you know, I think that's bad. It actually makes him worse because it shows that he's been in there way too long. That guy, if you actually watch those England under 21 highlights and stuff, he should have about double the amount of goals he's got for them now. But he misses so many chances. He misses penalties. He's offside way too much. He isn't good enough even for the England under 21 team every now and then. How is he good enough to play for Arsenal? Like, for me, a year ago, I'm getting rid of him, giving Balogun or Moller or any of them a chance. And if they fail, you sell them. That's an academy. That's what it is. If they're not good enough, you sell them. That's it.
It's all about environment as well. Usually, when you think about back in the day when players like Vela used to come on, even when Cesc used to come on, we were a team that were firing in all departments, and a player can come on with 10 minutes to go, and he's probably part of 3 or 4 chances, and he gets a goal. Yeah. Whereas Nketiah now is playing in a struggling team, leading the line for a struggling team. Whenever he's played, he's always come in because we're not scoring. So it's really hard for him to make an impression on the game. And when those few chances did come to him at Burnley at home, Southampton, he couldn't take them. And you're judged by that. And Arteta's been really ruthless. And he applied the same measures to Lacazette. When Lacazette missed those big chances at Anfield, he dropped him. So, you have to be ruthless. And I wish Eddie a great career. And I hope he does blossom. And I hope that we think, I wish we kept him. But we're in a position where we have too many players who are at that in-between level. And we need to be a little bit more ruthless where we can be.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, this has been the latest Arsenal news. And tomorrow at 6 o'clock, we're going to be doing 6:30 or 6 o'clock, whichever one, whatever time is better for me. We'll be doing the match preview, right? And hopefully we got to more of your more of your comments today than we did the last couple of days, because there's been a lot less of you guys. And when it comes down to it, what you guys got to know is we're looking to sell both of them, right? This young guy has been linked to us, and we haven't heard about anything. And apparently, he's close to getting the deal done. If it is, maybe it'll be like a 7 million, 10 million pound deal. I don't think it's going to happen. David Luiz being a head coach at Arsenal, possible player-coach situation. We'll see. Updates on injuries. Thomas Partey is not ready. Tierney is not going to be ready, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is under investigation, but it's an internal investigation. It's not an external investigation. So if anything does come down, it would be a in-club suspension or something like that. When it comes to Odegaard, will he sign permanently for Arsenal? Time will tell. We don't know. Jack Wilshere, shout out to him, 10 years from the day that he played against Barcelona. History, remember that day.
Go on, Jack.
And then 15 million for the young striker. Will we get him? He's 24 now, or 23, or 22? How old is he?
24, I forget. I think he's
24. I feel like we've been linked to him since he's been 18. So we'll find out how good he is. We'll find out how good he is when he's done. And also, guys, go check out my latest video, Hector Bellerin, 5 possible replacements for Hector Bellerin, and my tactical breakdown video that I did earlier. In addition to that, I got another breakdown video coming down tomorrow. I'm going to do a 5 replacements for Lacazette video coming soon. I did a video on the whole situation where Granit Xhaka was abused online, and that season ticket holder was kicked off his season ticket for life. And yeah, we're out of here, people. Have yourselves a great day. Watch the Champions League. Enjoy it, because we're not in it, and you might as well enjoy it. There you go. We're out of here, people. Big up to everyone watching.